Good day. I'd like to talk about basically what I've been doing as a professional painter in the last little while. I started this thing I call writing without writing, and essentially I have some examples here. What it consists of, see, I started with like collages and stuff where I was mixing text, very simple thing, text and image, bit of text. Here we have a typewriter, so the idea of writing, of typography, this is from an old, it's actually a reproduction of an old newspaper from one of the first newspapers published in Quebec, and it's a reproduction. Then I started doing some stuff with dry brush, textures, Then I started making this sort of, I don't even know which way this goes, this sort of figuration, a figural script, if you could say, kind of inspired by, I don't know, like, like an ideographic writing or something, like maybe a sort of, or mathematical signs. I got more into some other, this was made in August, playing around with the scripts, different colors. Here with some gold, sometimes I would write actual words. And see, I made some more, like this here, sort of on the idea of Chinese. See, I also did stuff that was more mathematical. I incorporated some mathematical diagrams, graphs, equations and formulas and stuff, taken from game theory. Here we have an old behaviorist, like it's the stimulus response, like sort of formula, like first stimulus, first response, mathematical exercises. I did another one in that style. I didn't really give these a name, but see, then it was like the imitation of like old, sort of like this old document, an old text that you find in a book. So I started playing with like this little scribble. This actually goes this way. A little sort of scribble, you could call it intuitive. And also I played with hands. The hand that writes, obviously. The hand that paints. No hands. The anti-hands. And this is where it gets interesting. This is the real writing without writing. Basically, what it consists of, I call this cold case. Basically, it's an improvised mathematical writing with symbols and stuff, but essentially it doesn't make sense. I'm not expressing anything. They're not mathematical expressions. They are mathematic-like expressions. I use real mathematical symbols, but in no configuration that could possibly make sense. Perhaps it would take, at times, someone with a bit of expertise in logic, modern logic and stuff, to realize, that, yeah, this doesn't make sense whatsoever. I don't think you would need that much expertise. The idea, but here's the perfect example of writing without writing. Those are just scribbles, but they look like they're expressing something. And I ask people, you tell me what you think it says, because I'm not making sense. This is called safety core, and really, it doesn't. It's not an emotion or a statement that I'm making. It's essentially just a kind of, look, I'll show you. I got my blackboard right here. Let's see if this works. See, there's writing. Let's say I write my name, Alex. I'm writing. I'm expressing something. This is a word. This is a sign. Or I can make a symbol like a cross or a plus sign, but then eventually it gets kind of where this is not a cross or it's more, you know, because and you could have bigger lines, and that's figuration. That's like we're getting with lines and drawing. But then, what if I was just, you know, just sort of scribbling, improvising, which is just kind of a dance of gestures of the hand. But even, let me just get this. I'd like you to see, the thing is, I can make it look mathematical because I know the symbols, right? So I can do like 1/2, you know, A, then you do a sign like that, then you do X, Y, you know, and do another sign equals, and then this, but then you can even make it look mathematical without actually, because of the nature of the Arabic numerals, which they're scriptural, you know, like they have like those lines, those flowing lines and those curves and everything. You can make it look like numbers in our present system without any mathematical equations, which are essentially operations, symbols for operations, multiplication, whatever, which are mental acts, and symbols for like variables, which are usually letters, and then the numbers, which are like values and stuff. But see, there's no logic to what I'm doing. The only consistent thing is that it's me making the images, but those are aesthetic objects for me. I'm building an aesthetic object, and I'm pretty detached. Like, I know an artist can never really, I don't really believe in impartiality and in total disinterestedness, because why am I doing it? You know, obviously I'm either getting a pleasure out of it or it's contributing something. Like, if I'm spending time, I'm spending time doing it, it becomes an occupation or a hobby or some sort of, like, in the sense that Eric Berne in his transactional analysis, like, everything is a sort of way of organizing time or structuring time, you know, whether it's a job. And I don't really work except as an artist, so basically, why am I occupying my time by doing these things? Well, to me, it serves, it's as a form of art. It's existential. I call it concrete realism, because those are a lot of the times, like, I was just improvising on the blackboard, but really most of the time those are things that I imagine, I experience it, although it's a mental image. Sometimes it's a motor image a representation of the metricity of my body. So as I'm writing, I have images of, like, mental images of the movements, that a representation of my own body as it moves, you know, sort of psychomotor phenomenon. And so a lot of the time I'm representing the act of that writing without writing. And I call it writing without writing because it's not writing. Writing is what I do, like, on my computer, on my typewriter, or with a pen when there's a consistency to it. There's this language, first of all, and there's no language I don't believe really in visual languages. I mean, other than figural, like, sort of like lines and figures, like squares and shapes, and the use of color and all that, but I don't think it makes a language like English. Like, it's not a natural language, even though we've been doing it as long, pretty much. Humans have been doing it as long as they've had language, pretty much. They've been expressing themselves visually and through the other arts. But it's not a language to me. It's it operates on another level, and I'm not saying that it's transcendental, that I'm transcending language and expression. It's just I don't really have anything to express, you know. Like, I really believe in routine, everyday, monotonous existence, and to me, painting is an ordinary thing. Yeah, it's repetitive, it's a ritual, it's ritualistic, it's a kind of game, you know, but it's what I do, and I chose to do it. And I knew that my father was an artist before me and warned me about painting and creating images and being an artist, that it wasn't a very lucrative business unless you invested a lot of time in public relations and all that.